Hello and welcome to the first in a brand new series of videos exploring just exactly where to begin with Big Finish's huge output of Doctor Who and related audio adventures. I often see Doctor Who fans, new fans in particular, being faced with the hundreds of titles on offer at Big Finish and then wondering where on earth to start. It can be intimidating, but it needn't be. In this series, I'll suggest a few good jumping on points and hopefully make that first decision a little easier. I have to stress though that this is not a review series. I may offer some brief thoughts here and there, but there are numerous other people far more capable of offering insightful and in-depth reviews on these titles than I ever could. Mine will be a brief overview of each title, and my reasoning as to why I believe it's a good starting on point for new listeners. First up, let's go back to the very beginning of Big Finish's Doctor Who output with their very first Doctor Who release, The Sirens of Time. It's 1999. Doctor Who has been off the air for 10 years. We'd had a brief glimmer of hope for a triumphant return in 1996 with a big budget TV movie, promising a bright new future across the Atlantic with a glossy new interpretation and a dashing new lead in Paul McGann.
A meteor storm that the sky above us was dancing with lights. Purple, green, brilliant yellow, yes!
What?
These shoes! They fit perfectly, yes.
More on him in a later episode. But ultimately, the ratings god had other ideas. That iteration went no further than that one episode. Paul McGann became, as he'd feared, the George Lazenby of Doctor Who, and the franchise returned to being a niche interest catering to the fans. Of course, we had books, magazines, videos and comic strips to keep us going, but there was one date those things failed to scratch. New adventures starring our favourite actors, characters and monsters from the classic show. Enter Big Finish Productions. Founded in 1998 by Jason Hay-Galloway, the company had already proven their skills to the BBC licensing department by producing a range of audio adventures starring one-time, novel-only Doctor Who companion Professor Bernice Summerfield. These have been based on the hugely popular Virgin New Adventures books, taking their plots but omitting the Doctor, a character which was off limits at that time. It was the quality of these releases that convinced the BBC to award the company the opportunity to produce and release brand new, original Doctor Who audio-only adventures, and the Big Finish Doctor Who range was born. The first release, The Sirens of Time, was recorded in March 1999 and released in July 1999 to much excitement. It features 3 Doctors from the classic show, played by their original actors Peter Davison, Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy. We have no companions featuring, though they of course would turn up in future releases. Having managed to get 3 of the classic actors on board as their respective Doctors, it made sense to feature them all in one adventure as a big launch for the range. It's also interesting to note the unusual structure of this release. Each of the Doctors is given their own mini-adventure in episodes 1 to 3 before joining together for the usual multi-Doctor shenanigans towards the end of the adventure. This gives each actor time and space to shine on their own before sharing the narrative with their other incarnations. If I'm honest, the Sirens of Time should be seen as something of a taster or proof of concept of what the company could offer the fans at the time. Could Doctor Who work on audio? Would the fans be interested in buying them? Well, yes is the answer, which is why we're here 20 odd years later with no signs of the range slowing down. But what of the plot of this one? What's it all about? This summary is taken from the Big Finish website. Gallifrey is in a state of crisis, facing destruction at the hands of an overwhelming enemy, and the Doctor is involved in 3 different incarnations, each caught up in a deadly adventure scattered across time and space. The web of time is threatened, and someone wants the Doctor dead. The 3 incarnations of the Doctor must join together to set time back on the right track, but in doing so, will they unleash a still greater threat?
That seems to be matching up nicely. Yes. Steady, old girl, steady. Don't get overexcited. The cloister bell? Oh no. Who? Who is that? I think I should change the coordinates. That's better. Why did I do that?
Just as I thought. A sea vessel of some sort. Probably steam turbines. Come on out, you two. Let's stretch your sea legs. While I use my tracker to see if this is where that time distortion, or whatever it was, is coming from. Hello. This looks promising. Or not, as the case may be. Oh. Huh? No TARDIS, eh? Now, what happened? There was some kind of ship, then an explosion, and...
Exciting, yes? As well as the 3 main regular cast, and of interest to fans of the newer era of Doctor Who, this adventure features some other familiar names. Mark Gatiss, Nicholas Pegg, and Nicholas Briggs. Briggs also wrote, directed, sound designed, and composed the music. You'll see Nick's name crop up a lot as the range grows. It's also worth keeping an eye on the name Maggie Stables. She'll become very familiar later on in your Big Finish journey. But why is this title a good jumping on point? Well, it's the first one, and as Julie Andrews once sang, let's start at the very beginning, a very good place to start. In all honesty, this first adventure is somewhat primitive in terms of both production and scope, and does not in any way represent the best of Big Finish, but they have much, much better stuff in their future. But it is lovely to hear the 3 regulars back in their roles, and interacting with each other with the bickering and personality clashes you'd come to expect from the likes of the 3 and the 5 Doctors on TV. It's an easy listen, and its structure makes it ideal if you want to listen to an episode a day. If you're new to the audio drama format, it can be a bit of a learned skill to be able to listen and take in a plot with your ears only, and listening to an episode at a time gives the listener opportunity to digest and process what's going on, and you may be less prone to listening fatigue. But the best reason of all is that the Sirens of Time is currently £2.99 on download from the Big Finish website. That's less than a cup of coffee. Incidentally, there are also loads of other early titles priced similarly at the side, so if you're dubious about jumping into a format that may not suit you, then financially the risk is relatively small. And even better than that, it's free on Spotify. You literally cannot get cheaper. So, if you're thinking of stepping into the universe of Big Finish Doctor Who adventures, please consider starting with the Sirens of Time. It won't rock your world, or become your favourite Doctor Who adventure of all time, but it will give you a nice insight into the excitement that we all felt way back in 1999 when our Doctors returned to us in brand new adventures. And that was just the beginning. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you found this video useful. If you've already heard this adventure, please pop a comment below. I'd love to know your thoughts on this one, whether you're a new listener or an old hand. Please like, subscribe and share if you've enjoyed this video, and I'll be back soon with another recommendation. Bye for now.